Men need a store that has the right thing for their thing, like a Kenneth Cole suit made with Choflex fabric to keep them cool at their cousin-in-law's third wedding in the middle of July. Whatever the thing, Men's Warehouse has the clothes for it. Love the way you look, Men's Warehouse.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
When you think work, you think boots. You think boots, you think Ariat. You think grit, concrete, rain, and heat. And boots that never back down from any of it. You think comfort and durability that hold up on the job, off the clock, and every step in between. Because the day doesn't end when the job does. And from overtime to off-duty, you're thinking Ariat boots. Boots that show up, stand out, and always back you up. Now, it's time to stop thinking and start shopping. Find yours at Ariat.com or a retailer near you.
Coming up, huffing the fumes at Scottish Gas, more woes for the MLR, and some big scores in the PWR this weekend. Was this the USA men's worst performance? Will there be a 2026 MLR season? And how good was that try from Talia Brody? Stick around to find out. This is the Maul Street Journal. Hello and welcome to the Maul Street Journal, the podcast that brings you all the latest news and reviews for all things American rugby. We are part of the Global Gainline Network and can be found on all your usual platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. And if you haven't already, give us a like or a subscribe, tell a couple of friends about us, or if you want to really do us a favor, just reach into our brains and scrape out all the memories from the USA men's performance in Edinburgh this weekend. Please. This is episode 17. As always, I'm David Lawrence, along with Kolya, who's still holding out hope for the Alamo. Kolya, how are you doing today?
A bit tired, but okay. The newest thing in classrooms is taking Post-it notes and turning them into darts and throwing them up into the ceiling.
That seemed inevitable.
Yes.
I was going to say that tracks.
Yes.
I was hoping you were going to say like little tiny paper airplanes that are really sophisticated. At least that would give you some.
That'd be really cute.
Of course. Also with us live from the Sagebrush State, it's Julia. Julia, how are you doing this evening?
I'm feeling good somewhere in the Southwest. I feel like I might be in Arizona. I might be in New Mexico. Either way, I'm having a good. Nevada.
There you go.
Hey, so I am feeling great in Nevada. What's really doing great is that it's clearing my sinuses right up, super dry. The heat, it's warm, but it's not humid. As a native of DC, that means a lot to me. I'm feeling a lot of drainage. And moreover, I do feel that where I am right now is the absolute best place that they should play an international rugby match.
Oh, yes, 100%. It's one of the top three Mesa locations.
There's so much rugby around already. There's already a local culture. There's definitely somewhere for them to play that wouldn't hurt their legs. I am the USA Rugby Scout, and for me, this is hitting all the boxes.
Yeah. That's why Rugby League has gone over to Las Vegas.
NRL preempted me. Honestly, they sent their Julia. She had more riz.
And a cork hat, presumably.
She absolutely and kind of like a little bit of a mobster vibe, but like not the way where like they're gonna start following you around the casino, but a little bit where they're like, we respect her. It was kind of one of those. That is kind of the aura that I bring.
So we always like to start with our question of the week. Kolya, what non-rugby game did you find most enjoyable over the last couple of weeks?
So this past weekend, or since college, I've been into several different soccer teams, but one of them being Celtic FC from Glasgow, Scotland. And this past weekend was the Scottish Cup semi-final between Glasgow Celtic and their city and many historical reasons rivals Glasgow Rangers.
The Rangers.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's the cool socialists versus the
The
Racist.
not.
The non-woke.
Yeah.
The non-woke Rangers and the woke Celtic. All of
Yes.
Even I,
Yes.
perhaps
love as well.
the least soccer person on earth, knows about Celtic versus Rangers.
Yeah. Yeah. And Celtic came out 3-1 victors. That was fun. Also watched the Basque Derby in Spain between Real Sociedad and Athletic Club Bilbao. That one was
Fantastic.
more of a barn burner, a 3-2 with a winner in added on time.
Wow.
Yeah, it
Who
was
won?
fantastic.
Real Sociedad
Is
from
that what you
San
were hoping for?
Sebastian Donosti. I I like
We're happy if
both.
either of those win.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's win-win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. My extended family are probably more Real Sociedad fans, but yeah.
Julia, same question. What's been floating your boat in the sports world besides rugby?
Oh, man, so I do love that, and I have this conversation a lot with my friends overseas about how definitely, like, if you're not a rugby person in America, like, you're probably a soccer person. And mine is also soccer. The USA women recently played Portugal, and Portugal shock beat them. I love the USA national team, so like I'm not thrilled that they got beat, but if they had to get beat by anybody, I'm thrilled it's Portugal. They're a rising team on the international scene. It was a great game and it meant a lot to Portugal. And if fans of me in other formats know anything about me, it's that I always like it when somebody not expected wins and feels really great and has a
Yes.
great time. And that was that match.
I would like to point out that our international listeners who are listening to this to think like, oh, what's the American perspective? Every one of them is going to think, well, all three of them are going to talk about the Game 7 in the World Series that just happened.
Course.
One of the most
Of
epic
course.
World Series ever. No, I'm not going to talk about that either. My entry has to be game versus the Pelicans and the Spurs. Wembanyama, he might single-handedly make me get
Ooh,
back together with the NBA. The NBA and I
absolutely.
broke up like several
I
years
love
ago, but
Wemby.
this
All
guy,
right.
So
Absolutely.
so to bring this into rugby, to bring this into rugby.
Please.
So when Wembanyama got to San Antonio, the guy working for the the Spurs like French language correspondent guy is a big rugby sevens guy.
really?
Yeah,
That's lovely.
yeah, yeah.
Has he
And
been working there since Tony Parker?
uh no, and he
Probably.
and this past year he had to leave for or step away for health reasons.
Hmm.
But like I also helped him coach soccer a couple of years ago, so knew him through
That's
that.
lovely.
He's a fun guy.
Well, Wemby's stat line for that night, 29 points, not too shabby, 11 rebounds, again, solid, and then 9 blocks. Nine. I'm like Ferris Bueller's mom. I'm like, nine
I
times? Like, it was nuts.
Oh, well, and that close to a triple double on nothing yet. But yeah, what a
It,
game.
it's still infuriating. Like, how many steps you're allowed to take is still based on how much of a star they think you are. I think I saw him take 4 steps at least a couple of times, and they don't care. But
Asia
anyway.
Wilson would love to talk to you and agree with you. Yeah,
Mhm.
I know.
Collier, by the way, are you a Spurs fan? Do you ever go see those games? You're the only one of us who might be able to go see Wembanyama pretty easily.
Yes. I've been to some. I don't go particularly often because they're late and I have small children.
I was
Mm.
gonna say there are only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and every time I go, the Spurs lose.
Huh. We've only done that once this year.
I did have a season of the Mystics like that, where like after 5 or 6 matches of going, I was just like, okay, I understand you don't want me here. And I saved it
Mhm.
by not going anymore.
Is
Yeah.
it prohibitively expensive to go to the Spurs?
Not really.
Okay. The Celtics
Yeah.
is completely
it's
priced
one
out.
of
Yeah,
it's one of the
yeah,
few
yeah,
things that they're doing well. Yeah.
yeah. It is not cost prohibitive, and they do this cool thing at the arena where they bring in like local restaurants to set up a concession stand like every
Oh,
game. So Like that is the only place I've gotten churro beignets before.
Ooh. I'm gonna buy you a ticket to the next game so you can
I'm
get
gonna
those and send them to me.
I'm gonna look deeper into that offline,
Yes.
folks.
Yes.
I'm gonna be
Oh my
looking,
gosh.
we're gonna be looking strongly into that.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay, well,
That sounds
our
phenomenal.
tradition is
Yeah,
to
we gotta
start
go.
with some news. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to be good news because we're in the United States. Kolya, what do you have for us this week?
So, unfortunately, the Utah Warriors, we knew they were struggling. We knew that there were thoughts that they wouldn't be able or that they weren't going to make it. Well, they're not going to make it to 2026. They put out a statement saying that up until a couple weeks ago, they were all that
They said a
they had
couple days.
plans, but unfortunately, Utah will not be in MLR next year, leaving the US MLR with 6 clubs.
That's one
And
less
according
than
to
they
MLR,
started with.
that's yep, according to MLR, that's gonna be that.
Mhm.
I mean, at this point, we don't even know if they can stem the
Yes.
blood, but yeah.
I went full nerd and I sat there for a very long time and tried to work out how you could keep a 16 game schedule with only 6 teams, given the absurd travel, and still have it fair. And you know what?
It's a
I
home and away
think I
for
cracked it.
each.
I think
Oh,
I cracked it.
okay.
I've got a schedule with 8 home games and 8 away games, and every team has 5 sort of long haul trips.
Okay, great. Drop it in the
Yeah.
mail. They probably haven't
I
thought this
did.
far ahead.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
They
So,
probably haven't thought
yeah.
this far ahead.
Yeah. So a few ref friends of mine and I were also kind of throwing around what we do. And we kind of came up with this idea of kind of turning it into pool play,
Huh.
Yeah.
where you put a pool of 3 that just constantly play each other, and then the winner of each pool plays, and then the second team in each pool plays the second team, and then the third team plays the third team.
Yep.
We cut
That was
down on the carbon
proposed for
footprint that way.
PWHL as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, exactly. It
Interesting.
is something that would work.
Hmm.
I don't obviously I have no insight to this. I wonder if they'll think of something as radical as that or like, round robins or completely changing it. I feel like those changes like that are hard for American sports fans to instantly digest.
Yeah, nothing to
Yeah.
add there. You're right. I wonder.
Hmm.
I'm gonna keep
Well,
my
Yes.
first
like
thoughts.
this is again bad news. It didn't hurt quite as much as it might have because I actually, to be honest, I thought this already was a done deal. I had just simply forgotten that they were
Yeah,
still holding out hope. So I was kind of like, "What? Oh,
that's
was
where we
this
had
from
left it
a
as
couple
well.
weeks ago?" Yeah. But like I said, 6 or 7 teams originally, 6 now, one less. They still have hope for expansion in the future as things solidify. I know they're trying to quote align their vision with World Rugby unquote, which kind of makes me feel like we're just getting pushed around a little bit. But it also seems to me that World Rugby wants this thing to succeed no matter what, because it's kind of in their interest now too that they have their hands in the pie. So it seems like sad times, but I'm remaining optimistic.
Yes. And there's also the R360 whatever that is happening that has decided that it's going to have a Miami stopover and possibly a
Sure,
Boston stopover.
Huh?
sure. Boston, I guess, kind of makes sense. Miami is a joke, as we know, because of the evidence. But okay,
Yes, of all
okay.
sports ever in Miami.
Rugby,
You
rugby
know,
is what we're gonna do. Yeah.
Mhm.
it's so funny because I'm totally against the R360 thing. On the other hand, whenever there's a test, like a big international test that comes to the United States, it comes to San Diego or Los Angeles or Chicago again or Chicago again. I'm like, can we get something to Boston? We actually have sports here. We have a huge sports scene. Like,
I
if
I
if a
recently had
test came with players at that level came to Boston, I might be buying a ticket.
I recently had an argument with some people on mm, one of the popular social media websites where we talk about rugby. Um, and no, but I brought up Boston as well, and they were like, well, like they have the Free Jacks or whatever. It's like they also have the Boston Banshees. Like I know you don't care, guy I'm talking to on the internet, but actually, it's well so. in that same thread, I was correcting some misinformation, such as something that apparently they hold as truth in the UK. I had to fix it for them that the best teams are all the Ivy League teams. I was like, absolutely not. It maybe 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, now it's like a random chiropractic college and a college you've never heard of. No, that's
and
exactly
the
what it
service
is.
academies.
And
Yes.
the service academies to some extent, no, you're absolutely right. I mean,
It is
like
true
at
that
one
it
point it was
matriculated
Merchant
down
Marines.
through the Ivy Leagues because it kind of
It did. It did.
Canada and then
So
sprinkled down Dartmouth especially.
and this conversation was a part of a larger piece, just to bump it because it's in the same family and she's on the women's rugby treehouse. Hattie recently wrote, our friend Hattie, who runs the Rugby History Project, recently wrote a great article about class in rugby, and it got around in the rugby circles and on this, it was Reddit. I'm gonna say it. It was on Reddit, on the main rugby Reddit. Folks were and so as it so happens on the internet, when you phrase a question, even if it's the name of an article, people are like, you're asking me personally. I'm like, we're not. The article answers the question. But unfortunately, she named the article a question. So people were like, well, and it was, what does class have to do with rugby? And everyone was like, well, it doesn't and then, insert my country that isn't England or Scotland or Wales. Yep. Click the link. There's a lot of information about that there. But I say all of that because America is one that people constantly grasp incorrectly. First of all, it's never been posh because it's always kind of been a counterculture sport, even for the men. Even when I was young and playing in college, it was very much like the alternative. The people who were playing rugby weren't necessarily like people who didn't make the football team. No, these were completely different people.
Yeah.
But that said, luckily, one of the few things that hasn't been a barrier in America has been class. And I say all of that because you would be surprised which colleges, which, by the way, unlike everywhere else in the world, honestly, all of our rugby comes through universities, mostly.
Yeah.
You can come through club. You absolutely can. But
Even if you were playing rugby at an Ivy League, it's probably because you were too drunk the morning you tried out for crew.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, we joke and all of that, but actually, if you look at the Women's World Cup team, several Harvard grads, two of whom have gone back and are now the head coach and assistant coach of Harvard, in Cheta Amba and oh no, well, I know
We
Erica
just talked about it a
Gerald
couple
Cersei.
weeks ago. Damn it, because they were in
Was
the
it?
same. They had the same major as well. The
Yeah, and it
microbiology
wasn't.
thing.
Yeah, and it wasn't Erica Gerald Cersei. Anyway, several Harvard grads, yes, but otherwise, no. Some of them come from universities you've never heard of, and please don't look them up because they aren't real universities.
Well, there's no
Yeah,
avoiding it. We may as well get stuck in. The USA men
Let's.
played Scotland this weekend at Scottish Gash Murrayfield.
Ooh, they're gonna love that in the UK.
I used to call it noxious gas, but this might be even better, but just by accident. It was a performance that looked like we'd been huffing that gas all morning. Quoting here from America's Rugby News, shout out to y'all as always, quote, to say that Scotland put USA to the sword on Saturday would be an understatement. The Eagles were nowhere to be found at Murrayfield, punished from start to finish by their opponents who ran in 13 tries en route to a record 85-0 score. While acknowledging they were absent a handful of European pros, it was a poor result for a side that lost by a 35-point margin just a year ago against a stronger Scottish outfit, unquote. As Mariko-san famously said in Shogun, karma is karma and every moment is 1,000 lifetimes. Kolya, how many lifetimes did you burn through watching this game on Saturday?
Oh, this was painful.
This took years off Kolya's life. I need chat, and I'm sure that fans understand that, like, of all of us, Kolya is definitely the most stoic, and the man was not doing
Yeah,
well in the chat.
I was losing it watching
And
this match.
Kolya does not lose it easily.
Like the amount of just like we had people
Go off,
jogging
King.
in defense.
Go.
We had people jogging in defense. We had like
I'll get there when I get there.
The one positive from the first 20 minutes was we weren't losing all of our lineouts like we have been the entire summer.
But wait.
And then we took off our hooker for who knows why, and we lost every lineout after that.
Every single.
It was amazing.
It was really like it was a screenplay about like foibles of rugby, but it was real.
Did we ever find out why he got subbed out?
No, I didn't.
No,
I didn't pay attention.
I didn't see anything. The broadcast
We didn't see
never
anything
even
after.
mentioned that he was being subbed. The only reason we know is that the camera followed him being subbed.
Thank
Like
you.
it was just absolutely ridiculous. Like there were three or two or three substitutions in the first half, and the commentary team just didn't mention them.
It was a terrible comms team, to be fair.
Yeah,
It wasn't a game you were supposed to follow.
yeah, and I'm just watching it and going, okay, there are high school teams that could throw up a better defense against Scotland here than the US was doing.
Cody's like, my under 10
Actual high
girls,
school
I
teams.
swear to God, if I saw them.
Actual high school teams could do a better job in defense than the US played in that match.
How can that be?
Nothing to add. No notes.
I don't know. Like
It
right,
was like
right before coming on the pod, I was watching Squidge Rugby's breakdown, and they mentioned that our defense coach now
just to
is
get his
Nick,
confidence up.
Yes, it is Nick Easter, which I had somehow missed, and the Squidge team were pointing out that Nick Easter has been the defense coach of the worst defense in whatever he has done his entire career as defense coach. That as a club legend, he was sacked at Harlequins.
I was gonna say you're loser hat.
Wow.
That is who we have as defense coach right now. And
so
think-
when you're
would
following
USA
his
Rugby-
scheme and you find yourself isolated 1-on-1 and you're missing that tackle, are you on Easter Island?
Would USA Rugby be mad if we took some of whatever that dumb money that they're giving us and we just like replaced our coaching team? Do you think that they would care? Like, there probably won't be stipulations. Nobody ever puts They should, but nobody ever puts stipulations on us.
So-
oh my God.
so speaking of that money, speaking of that World Rugby money,
He's got more bad news.
today I was told that most of that is actually tied into broadcasting.
Oh, fuck off. Come on. I mean, no, now that you say it, like, it feels like somebody like turned on a light in a pitch black room. Of course it's about broadcasting.
Of course it's about
Why did
broadcasting.
I think that it would be about rugby? Oh my God. It's fine. I'm letting
Like,
go.
To be fair,
that
if
was
we-
told
this
to
isn't
me
my
by
sector.
someone who would know.
Who would
If we-
fucking know? Yeah.
If we get to 2031 though, and a World Cup
If we
broadcast
get
looks like
there.
the one from this weekend, like the All Blacks game from this weekend, that World Cup's over. Anyway, like
No, and if we may continue shitting on it for a minute, don't forget one of the things that we have had recently is about our special fancy deal with Paramount Plus. The Paramount Plus is now the home of USA Rugby, except
For this match.
sometimes not.
Yes.
Sometimes if it's rugby played in America, can't watch it. Sometimes if it's America playing rugby somewhere else, can't watch it. Now, sometimes can you watch it? Maybe.
Yeah. I thought I had canceled Peacock because they had lost rugby. And no,
That's what they told us.
luckily,
Luckily, I'm a dumbass.
luckily I had forgotten to cancel it and noticed,
that's me and
the
half my
entire
serbs.
Nation series is on Peacock. Would I have known this if I hadn't looked the day before?
and don't forget on that
Good
Peacock
man.
screen, you still have to scroll down past 2 tiles of Alona Mar to get to
That's
any of
right.
that new content.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
However, I do like to say that on my Paramount Plus, it's constantly telling me that what I would like is men's rugby when, for example, the Women's Rugby World Cup is on. It's like, would you like to watch these like Papua New Guinea versus Hong Kong, China? And I was like, wow, that's crazy. No. The World Cup
Maybe later.
part was what I was maybe later.
Mhm.
But yeah, no. They have their finger on the pulse of American rugby fans, let me tell you.
Well, Scotland are my number 2 team, so I usually love seeing them win, but this was
So you are.
completely unenjoyable. I'm just at a loss for how it could go so badly. Yeah, I like to find positives, but I came up absolute blanks on this one.
So
Tavita Lepetti, he had a couple nice moments, including like a behind the back little dealy, but that was quickly snuffed out along with every other, attack we tried. We did manage to provide Duhan and Darcy a great chance to get back to even on their try scoring race. So is that our biggest positive?
Yeah, we really
yeah,
helped
yeah,
them.
yeah. That was fun watching them yo-yo in their race. Uh, as someone who watches a lot of the Irk, Jamie Doby was fun to watch,
Yes.
but that was if I just turned off. Oh, he's playing against wet wet paper as a defense.
I do think he deserved the start, and you can only
Yes,
play the people in front of you. But
yes. Just there was nothing positive from the U.S. for that match. I don't think we learned a single thing. Like,
did
Okay,
anyone
well,
or
watch
or
the?
actually,
you took what I was gonna say when David kicked to me, which is just like
yeah,
I feel like this time I can't say that they learned anything because I don't
yeah,
think that they did.
yes. Like, I because we don't know why the subs were made. I can't even say that a positive was we came out of it without injuries
Mm,
because they might have come off for injuries and we
right.
just don't know yet.
And we don't know how those who were like very narrowly rehabbed, very narrowly rehabbed. That's
Yeah.
a problem across both our national
Did
teams.
we get coach reactions after this one? Did we get another ponderous explanation of why this wasn't so bad?
I didn't see one, did you?
I don't remember Peacock showing it.
Mm,
I didn't
probably
see
for the
one.
best.
Yeah.
Actually that part was on Paramount.
But yeah, yeah. Now that one,
Yes.
Yeah. And the interview with Toonsy was on Flow.
ugh,
On the Blood and Mud podcast this week, in the shit good segment, for shit, Josh had America brackets general, and it's kind of hard to argue.
I've
So
been
The
sworn
elections
on this
yesterday
podcast
weren't
not to make
horrible.
yeah. And I've been told not to do rants about that, so I won't.
Well, last thing for me. So, on the one hand, this felt like a new low for our men's Eagles, but I was in Chicago at the time for the rematch, between Ireland and New Zealand. So, my overall American rugby experience, such as it was actually pretty positive. Like, what I mean is, the biggest crowd I've ever been part of at a rugby match, you know, 61,000 there, about 60,000 Irish fans and 900 American fans who support New Zealand and 100 Kiwis. Um, but being in the midst of that huge crowd was mind blowing. While I was in my hotel, I told you both of this about this at the time. Like a brother and sister, probably 15 or 17 years old, they walked past me and they're giving each other pointers on how to like best play in the front row, and they were just really intense
Yeah.
about it. That's not something I encounter in normal life, and so while it doesn't amount to the kind of evidence that you'd bring to like a potential investor, it made me feel hopeful because I just believe I now this weekend made me think growth is there. I think there's growth that we just haven't seen yet. So I'm choosing to believe that we will see that. My optimistic take is this weekend was a nadir for men's rugby in the USA, but a few years from now, we're going to be looking back and saying, wow, remember how bad things were? And I have decided that the arrow is now pointing up. As our coach would say, moonshot? I mean, maybe so, but I'm in for the ride. Let's go.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that gets lost in the conversation that is held predominantly by the international. I say international, I'm saying the opposite of American is international. The international community that comments a lot on the growth of rugby in America without being in America, first of all. And second of all, without knowing where it came from, having been in it and seeing the growth now. But this is huge growth. Like, I understand that it wasn't the game where USA was playing. Okay, they were in Scotland. The team always has to be away. That's not a problem. We saw two teams that were not America, and it brought this kind of crowd. Yes, you can argue that if the USA men were playing, maybe the crowd wouldn't have been as big. Okay. But the point is, everything starts somewhere. Just because much of the big names in international rugby haven't had this kind of problem in many, many years doesn't mean that it's not an upward trajectory. I'm sorry. I just wanted to
Mm.
really underline that because yes, if you were, I understand. I was reading it from friends. I understand that if you were watching abroad, the broadcast wasn't amazing. Yep. Yep. America isn't that great at broadcasting rugby yet. You're right.
It's true.
We've got years to go until the Olympics. Wouldn't you, or the World Cup? Wouldn't you rather we get better?
Right.
These are good things, unless you are fundamentally against development of rugby in America, which honestly some of the community is. Okay. You will always find something to
Yeah.
to point at in our rugby. Absolutely. We are not a traditional rugby nation.
Even the fact
We
that
can
there's
be.
rugby on a big screen in a bar, like even that has never happened to me.
That's
There
never
was like
happened
a
outside of the
pre-match
main
party
rugby
at
hubs.
this. There's a
Exactly.
place called Reggie's, and they have shuttle service to the stadium. So we got there at like 9 a.m. For England and Australia are on. Then USA versus Scotland came on, and that's when I picked the shuttle to
Yeah.
go to the stadium. I think that seemed like a good time, but it was a great party atmosphere. I think I probably already told you about this, but I think it's a worthy tale. At my little table, it was me and then 10 Irish people, and they were so much fun. And like they were kind of, trickled in as the morning progressed. And once the sort of oldest guy showed up, he just took over the table and he immediately just started drink shaming everyone who he thought had stupid drinks. And this woman had the misfortune of asking for a white cranberry and tequila. And whoop, that set him off. He was all over her for the rest of the day. He was like, "Oh, well, this might take a while. They'll be out there now hand picking your albino cranberry, so they will." She's just covering her face. I was like, "You are my spirit animal. Thank you, sir."
So I've got two questions for you, David.
Yes,
One, how was seeing the haka in person for the first time?
really stirring. This sound wasn't great. You don't get. It's better on TV, to be honest,
Yeah.
because we're up in the 300 section. Maybe if I was closer to the field, it would feel more personal.
Mhm.
Um, but it was really good. I've always wanted to see that. It was a stirring, brilliant moment. They did a great job of it. Cody Taylor's not my favorite Haka leader, but it was good. I decided to, as soon as we got home, I actually fired up the broadcast and watched the replay just of that, so I could get the better camera angles and stuff like that, which was
Absolutely.
nice. That was awesome. The best moment, and I'm not an Ireland supporter, when the Fields of Athenry broke out spontaneously in that stadium. There were tears in both our eyes. That was a stirring thing to be a part of. It was great.
Mhm.
And also, God bless him, because every time New Zealand did something right, of course, in the second half, I'm going, yeah, and immediately
Nope.
scratching back
Wrong.
down. And
Wrong.
everyone around me, they're like, you get your whoop, and then that's enough.
Yeah,
But it was perfect. I think I struck the balance.
good, good. And second question, what were the demographics that you saw there? Like, was it
Yes.
mainly foreigners who had come in for watching something fun while making a trip of it, or was it mainly Americans?
Yeah.
It felt heavily international, but I think that's just because I've never been around so many Irish people coming into the same place at the same time.
Yes.
Remember that, like, I think it's almost probably gonna shade it a little bit because you're from Boston. Is that you've been around a lot of
Yeah.
Irish Americans already.
So it was probably 50-50. It was massively Irish, but
Yeah.
Chicago is one of those cities that considers itself Irish. So when you see
Yeah.
four people standing next to each other and they're all wearing IRFU jerseys, are two of them from Ireland and two of them are having those people stay
Chicagoans,
with them
yeah.
while they're
Yes,
here?
yes.
Like I think it was that. So the stadium was 90% Irish fans. I would guess 49% of them actually made the trip. Those fans travel so well and they just bring the
Yeah.
fun.
That's the thing.
And then there was a smattering of Kiwis there too.
Most of whom probably live and work in America, to be honest. I doubt very
Yeah,
many
yeah.
people came for
In the
this.
airport on the way back, I met a lovely Kiwi guy, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder what this." And no, he lives in San Francisco.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I do know the only folks that I know who are New Zealand fans of rugby are two Kiwis that I work with who just live in
Mm.
America.
Well, before we move on, I just want to take a moment to remind all of you that liking and subscribing is the best way to help us grow. If you could tell a friend or two, that would be smashing. We are part of the Global Game Line Network. We're incredibly grateful for your ongoing support. We're over 1150 on YouTube now, and so we remain your one-stop shop for all things rugby. We've got Irish content, South African content, we've got the Women's Treehouse, the URC Rewind, and of course, the pod that started it all, the Wrap. And there's plenty more where that came from. Check it all out and help us spread the word. So, there were actually some pretty great performances by American rugby players this weekend, which means it was round 2 of the PWR. We had 4 games. Just quickly, Exeter lost at home to almighty Gloucester Hartbury 31-47. My Loughborough Lightning, they beat Sale 19-12. Saracens rolled the Quins 47-10. And I saved it for last, Julia. Your Bristol Bears completely and utterly destroyed the Leicester Paper Tigers at Welford Road, no less, 74-0. Julia, tell us about what you saw this weekend.
Well, first I will start out, and I'm so glad that I'm like starting anew on another podcast. So I am traditionally a Bristol fan, and I am still a fan of the team. However, I benefit from not being like from Bristol. I don't have any family in Bristol. It was just a team that I picked. So luckily, I can expand my love to several teams, and I have fallen very much in love with the Sale Sharks. I love their social media. There's so many Eagles there, including several Eagles that I love. We'll talk about them. But it's a team that is very easy to root for. They're very much an underdog that has undertaken quite an ambitious offseason over the World Cup. They did massive recruitment, international recruitment, as well as some new Red Roses, new coaching team, including some very talented coaches from other teams. But anyway, all of that is to say, I mean, we can just go down the list because some have more Americans than others. So oh goodness, and this article does not have it in the same order that you said it. So starting off, Exeter Chiefs and Gloucester Hartbury. There are no Americans at all on Gloucester Hartbury, so great. Exeter Chiefs, we've got Gabby Cantorna and Hope Rogers. Rachel Johnson has recently left the Chiefs, I think possibly retired. Anyway, from that one, we had pretty good performances from, as I said, Hope and Gabby Cantorna. Gabby came off the bench, Hope started. Regular good performances that we expect from those. Going down the list. All right, I'll leave Bristol for last. The Loughborough Lightning versus Sale Sharks game was fantastic. I hope you did get to catch it on replay. Definitely.
Yeah, that's the one I caught.
Yeah, definitely. So both were great performances. It's part of the reason why I brought up that like I'm getting enthused about Sale. Definitely this time last year they would have gotten absolutely trounced by this Lightning team. We've got Americans on both the Sharks and the Lightning. As you said, there was an amazing try from Talia Brody to kick off at 22 minutes on the clock, which opened it up for Loughborough Lightning. It was a fantastic try.
She just bashed through like those people were sliding doors.
And she's great at it. And I will say, friend of the pod, Hattie, was at this match. She's a Loughborough Lightning season ticket holder, was at this match, and loved to report it. But she ended up seeing Catherine Treader and Alev Kelter, who she constantly goes and sees now. Also met Talia and was a complete sweetie pie. Good reports all around, and a fantastic pulling it off at the end for Loughborough Lightning. Great for them. And great for our Eagles. Oh, and below
at this point, I want Hattie to get like a GoPro and a subscription service so you can just like be Hattie for a day.
Be Hattie for a day. Well, so I've always thought this as well, and I floated the idea or whatever, and she was like, yeah, like if we like have to like wear animal print because you're not like in the Hattie zone unless you're wearing either the double denim or you're wearing some animal print. And I was like, that might be a bridge too far for Americans because it's like it's fun to them, but like it's a culture here and like oof. However, moving along, as you said, the Saracens did really work the Harlequins over. Not the first of all, no Americans on either. Lottie Clapp does play for the Saracens. I don't believe she was playing this time.
Yeah, there was lots of people on our list from last time that didn't actually see game time today or this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. And of course there are various phase-in plans for different lengths of time that you were playing in the World Cup, what happened after or during and after the World Cup in terms of your rehab and everything. Some people don't need surgery, but they need to rehab. Some people needed full surgery. So we're going to see staggered return to play.
The fact that they're able to do that speaks to the increasing depth in this league too, though.
It absolutely does. And I feel that it also speaks a lot to the willingness of PWR, the officials within PWR to be working closely with, and it's important for us to be working closely with USA Rugby finally, because definitely in the beginning, back when this was Premier 15s, it was often said kind of off the record or just kind of like in passing that a lot of the time the USA Rugby officials were kind of like second consideration, kind of they did what they wanted with their signatories, with their signings, and you know, whatever USA Rugby wanted, like, yeah, we'll try, but like, this is our player now, we own her. So it seems like there's more work there. There's probably, yeah, probably better synergy there, which is nice. All right. We did Saracens Harlequins. All right, so that leaves us with, as you said, Leicester Tigers versus Bristol Bears. Unfortunately, Bristol completely wiped them out, 74-0. It was 74-0, yeah. No Americans on the Bristol team. On Leicester, we've got a few, including Tess Fury. Kristen Bitter recently signed there. She played the whole time. That was great. Some people have actually asked me, I guess not in the format of the podcast, but have asked me why Kristen Bitter might have signed with the Tigers, knowing that this was how things were going to go, and they did. Several Eagles that were at Tigers have left. Tess Fury is one that stayed. Then we had Kristen Cum. I believe there are two more Tigers that I'm losing off the top of my head that are also Eagles. But for the answer of why some Americans are still signing there, the answer is, even though they are not the best team, in fact, they are currently the worst team, unfortunately, strategically, that kind of works for us as Americans because of the England qualified player, the EQP requirements for teams. Teams can only have up to 60% of their roster must be England qualified at any given time. So if you are on a team with a bunch of Americans already, lose, or internationals at all, you lose out on your chance for playing. All of that is a long explanation for Kristen might be the starting 10 for all of the Tigers season. And even if, you know what, even if they don't win a single match, and by the way, every team has to kind of not lose a single, or not win a single match, or there always has to be one team rather. I don't know. I'm happy. Good. Go get that starting.
By the way,
get a million minutes. Get a million minutes in PWR. Great.
Rachel Ericke was on the field this weekend, and she wasn't even on my list as American players over there. But now I can't find it in my notes. Where was she playing?
Loughborough.
Why did I space that? Yeah, I believe, so she's the seventh person now on my list from Eagles for Loughborough. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna have to follow that up, and then like if anybody hears it and knows better, they can just yell at me in the comments. I'm not gonna look it up right now. Getting kind of sleepy.
Colia, are you penciling in Gloucester Hartbury for a four-peat?
Well, Bristol looked good, but I'm still predicting
against the worst
Gloucester
team in the
Hartbury.
league.
Yes, I'm still predicting Gloucester.
Yeah, I am as well. By the way, I'm saying it more forcefully now. I am as well.
By the way, this is totally, out of the blue. When they rebranded this competition to be the PWR, they kind of bent over backwards to make it PWR, so it could be like power. And people at the time were like, "Oh wow, they're really kind of leaning into, should they really try that hard?" Okay, well, and then they just walked away from it. They made it the PWR. Never have I seen ads that are like, "Feel the PWR." You know,
I don't think they're doing it anymore. Their new thing is the new era. So that's the thing, I guess.
But this was the new era.
That's new. This is the new era.
Clearly, I'm not in marketing. Early on in this competition, Gloucester Hartbury are the only unbeaten team. It's only been 2 rounds. Trailfinders and Leicester are winless. Everyone else has 1 win. Julia, over 2 games, Gloucester have scored 87 total points, but your Bears are averaging, technically, 74 points a game. Is this the year?
I need more data. Need more input.
Nope.
This was so remember the Bears didn't play the first week. Second week they had the bottom team in the league. I think that's the easiest first 2 weeks you can have. I'm really interested for them to see somebody the likes of Harlequins, the likes of, I mean, obviously I'd like to see him play as Saracens and Gloucester Hartbury. That will give us more answers. Also, it just so happens the Bears have injuries out from the World Cup. Luckily, none of them except Lana Skeldon looks like will take that long. Lana did end up having surgery. But otherwise, I'm curious to see what happens when they're back at full strength. I just don't. I'm hesitant because I think that they definitely like overshowed against the Tigers. That was great. It was fantastic. Millie David scored 4, Nika Bonner scored 3, Ella Levibon scored a brace. It was great. But I'm curious what happens against a really competent defense.
I love this competition. I wish it was much simpler
Yeah.
to watch. I wish I wasn't like, okay. I mean, the same thing with Peacock versus Paramount.
Which
One's
app
here,
went
one's
to
there.
steal today?
I don't like spending my time being like sleuthing it out. Just put it on my platform, and I'll make those games the first ones I watch every weekend.
That is exactly the argument that we have made every time we as the media, as rugby talkers, as longtime fans that they actually listen to on social media have asked and brought it up, and the answer has often been that they want it to be as profitable as it can be, as soon as it can be. Which I personally, I don't know if that's the right answer for this business. But at the same time, absolutely no one pays me for my opinion. So, maybe that's an indication.
Imagine if funds from Gloucester Hartberry's revenue like bring back London Irish or something.
Actually, London Irish is one of the teams that might come back for women. Is London Irish, Worcester Warriors, obviously we assume is going to come back since they're already coming back for the men. Well, the men we know are coming back. The women we would expect to as well.
I thought theoretically the women were still playing this whole time too. No?
In the champ, and I don't think they've been playing as Worcester. I think they've been playing as like Worcester 1871, which they can pawn off on their academy, which I circumvent something that I don't understand about registration in the UK.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Kolya or either of you, any final thoughts on the PWR round 2?
The Loughborough Sale match was fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely give it a look.
Yeah.
I like their kit. I like their attitude. I like the way they play. They didn't win as many games the last 2 years as I wanted them to, but they're so fun to watch. I love them.
My one thing, and this might have just been the feed, but it looked very gray.
Yeah, that one was. It was weird.
They applied the Deathly Hallows filter.
Yeah.
Well, our men's Eagles, God bless them, they're off to Georgia. Kickoff in Batumi is at 7 a.m. on Saturday. There are only 4 places between us in the world rankings, but they've beaten us the last 3 times we've met. Kolya, any thoughts on what to expect from this one?
So, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, this was the one that I was scareder about than Scotland.
No.
That was what I was going to say as well. If you thought Scotland was bad, Georgia's going to be attritional. Georgia's going to be attritional.
I am terrified about this. I don't think it'll be something like 85-0 again. But if we get nilled again, that would not shock me.
Ooh.
I could still see it. I could still see it being mid-40s to no. Absolutely.
The old attitude about Georgia was like, oh, well, they're powerful and big and they'll scrum the crap out of you, but that means they probably don't score a lot of points because they're kind of slow. Now they have explosive wingers too. Like they have it big and heavy in the middle.
Say, that
and
era,
fast
that era
is
over.
I don't know what to do. Julia, anything you're looking forward to in that match this weekend?
No, honestly, like only because I don't want to
checking out those great Georgian wingers.
Honestly, yeah. I'm curious what Georgia's
I don't know what Batumi looks like too much. I'm hoping for some nice, production setup shots.
Vista. I'm hoping, yeah, for sure. I'm excited for that.
Beautiful country.
I was going to say Georgia is also a gorgeous country. I'm always interested in what they're up to, both rugby and otherwise.
And they have the most beautiful script.
Yes. We could talk about that offline. Oh my God, I know. Yes. I think Georgian is a beautifully written language. Their orthography is also fantastic.
Yeah, and it's Anyway, next time on other terrains that are outside the U.S. on our USA Rugby Pod.
It's still Wall Street Journal After Dark, and it's Julia and Kolya, and they're drinking, and it's risque, but then they just talk about languages the whole time, and I'm like,
Yes.
that's fun.
That's my kind of After Dark.
Mhm.
It is prediction time. Julia, give us your final score for Georgia versus USA.
Like I said, I do think I'm going to say 45-0.
Kolya?
That's where I'm at.
I'm gonna be nice and say 45-5.
Yeah. Okay. I'd buy that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting the feeling that I am not just an optimist, but perhaps what would the word be? A ridiculous?
Delusional. Delusional.
How much have you been drinking?
Exactly.
Zero. Maybe that's the problem.
Not enough. Exactly.
Yeah,
not enough.
Whatever it is, it's not the exact right amount. I want to predict a win for us here, but I'm not going to. I'm going to say that we keep it kind of close and maybe score points. I'm going to say 35-14 for Georgia.
Okay.
And you know what?
I don't think that's unreasonable. I don't think that's unreasonable.
It would be nice to be here next week with 2 tries to talk about.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'd be happy with
that. Okay. Before we let everybody go, Kolya, I think you've got a little bit of grassroots for us.
Yes, there's a tiny bit of grassroots. The Tennessee Rugby State Tournament or State Championship is this weekend in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Why they have changed their calendar up and the Rugby Calendar State Championship is now in November, I don't know. I know back when I was in high school, a long time ago now, it was in the summer, but is being played at the same field. They've got their state tournament, and my high school, which is now an official team for the high school. When I was there, it is not an official.
That's right.
It was not an official team.
Not sanctioned. Yeah.
Yeah. We were not officially sanctioned. Is going for its sixth men's title, and I think it's 4th women's title.
Wow.
That's not shabby.
Yeah.
That's not shabby at all.
So where on the high school campus is your statue going to go?
The guy who started it all.
Yeah.
Right before he bonked his
Kolya
head.
Gate. At the entrance of the field. Kolya Gate.
No. Yeah, but that, or like I feel great, or I'm really happy that like the teacher who was there who kind of got me into rugby and told me that I should play, Don Tilkey, is still there and is still the sponsor of the team.
That's fantastic.
That's a real one, man.
Yeah.
The timing is terrible. You couldn't possibly get there for this.
No.
Dang it. Well, Kolya, Julia, as always, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time and insights. Any last thoughts before we call a full lid?
Go Eagles.
Go Eagles. I finally showed, my son is 9. We finally showed him Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And now it's in his lexicon to do, and there was much rejoicing. Hooray. So I think my work is done.
That is exactly what I would think that you would be teaching your son.
Well, as always, thanks to Lee, Hugh, and all the folks at The Wrap. Thanks to all of you for coming along and watching or listening. We're on YouTube. We're on all the usual platforms for audio pods. So if you can help out by spreading the word, that would be phenomenal. Until next time, from all of us, cheers. Thanks to you all, and be well.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.